In this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I sit down with Tony to talk all about Calakmul, 4 daring jungle dice games in a tin. And then after that, we will bring you a couple games that are on Kickstarter and announce or pre-announce a giveaway that the Giveaway Geek is going to be doing with some of the games that will be on Kickstarter. So make sure you stay tuned until the end. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by Born to Serve, a super-powered game of tabletop service. It's a tabletop game for 2 to 5 jobless superheroes competing for the last job in town at the local restaurant. This is coming to you from Shoot Again Games. You want to find out more about it? I sat down with Diane to talk all about it, and you can go listen to that if you head on over to the update they released on the 13th of January entitled 85% and New Media About Born to Serve. So go give that a listen and see if this be a game for you. And then if it is, come back and check it out and back Born to Serve, a super-powered game of tabletop service that'll be on Kickstarter through Thursday, the 31st of January. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is also proudly being powered by VIXIV, the game of survival from Snipe Hunt Games. VIXIV is a fast-paced strategic card game that pits players against each other in a race to develop the most successful ecosystem. So think survival of the fittest. At the time of this recording, there's only 13 days left of this campaign, so definitely don't dilly-dally and check it out, as this project will end on the 8th of February. And do you want to hear me sit down with the creator? Well, you have that luxury in the update entitled VIXIV, the game of survival, featured on Getting Geeky with Game Relief podcast that aired on the 17th of January in their updates. So definitely check out VIXIV, the game of survival. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is also proudly being powered by Dark Naga Adventures, Dark Naga Haunting of Hastur, Hardback 5e and OSR. It's a hardback color omnibus edition of the Haunting of Hastur modules, Dark Naga 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, with VTT maps and extras. You definitely want to check this out. They're not quite the way to the halfway point of their goal, but at the time of this recording, there's still 22 days to go, so about 3 weeks, as this project will be on Kickstarter through Sunday, the 17th of February. And if you jump back and check out the last episode before this one, you can go and listen to my interview as I sat down with Kevin to talk all about it. So definitely go check out Dark Naga, Haunting of Hastur, Hardback 5e and OSR. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is also proudly being powered by LunaTix, Star Tracker's Solar System Lunar Lander. It's an educational and strategic board game that combines real astronomy and historical space navigation. Plus, it contains a real star map. I also sat down with Vincent to talk all about his game, and you can find that in the update they released on the 22nd of January entitled Game Relief Interview. So definitely go give that a listen and then jump over and check out the campaign, see if it be something for you. This project will be on Kickstarter through Monday, the 18th of February, so definitely check out LunaTix, Star Tracker Solar System Lunar Lander, currently on the Kickstarters. Last but not least, this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by INSURED, the survival-based board game. For 3 to 8 players, do you have what it takes to survive? Would you strategize and manipulate to win, or would you leave it all up to fate? This game does sound quite fun. I actually sat down with the creator, mastermind behind it, to talk all about INSURED, and you can go ahead and catch that in the update they released on the 19th of January entitled Update 3 Podcast. So go give that a listen and see if INSURED, the board game, is for you. They're almost at their funding goal, and there's still 26 days to go. This project will end on Thursday, the 21st of February, so check out INSURED, the survival-based board game. Reminder to hang on until after the interview to hear a couple more games that are on Kickstarter and about an upcoming giveaway that the Giveaway Geek will be doing with some other designers, publishers, and content creators. But we'll go ahead and dive straight in.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Welcome to Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. Today we're bringing you a special treat. We have the creator mastermind of a new game that has launched or is about to launch on Kickstarter by the time you're listening to this. It's called Calakmul Daring Jungle Dice Games. Hopefully I got that right. And we have Tony on the line with us to talk all about this game. And you're the mastermind behind it?
Yes, I am. And I'm excited to be on the show. This is another first as I delve into the Kickstarter world.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. So before we get into everything about Calakmul and anything like that, let's rewind a little bit if we could, Tony. How did you get into the world of playing tabletop board games?
I think pretty much it's been with me the whole time. I probably remember it deepest when I was growing up some time ago. We spent a couple years in the Middle East, and between 12 and 4 in the day during the summer, you just didn't play outside. My brother and some of the neighbors and all, we played a lot of Risk and Clue and Monopoly, and we really got into playing a lot of games. And the family fun time often was penny poker. Watched my dad and my grandfather play cribbage all the time, and they had that interesting lingo they would use. When they were actually, I learned later, actually counting their points, but they were 15-2 and pairs 3 and 6 is 9, and I didn't know what was going on, but I've been making games up pretty much ever since then. One of the early ones, I made up one with dice and cards, and I called it Dards.
That makes sense. Yeah, awesome. So what were you doing in the Middle East, if you don't mind us asking?
Sure. We were overseas for about 7 years while I was growing up. My dad worked for a big engineering construction company, and so we got to travel around quite a bit. That probably gave me the best social studies course that you could get, and probably cemented a lot of my interest in history and exploring and knowing how the world was.
Well, that's pretty cool. And then you dove right into making games. Word on the street is you have a new game on Kickstarter, or it's about to be there. What can you tell us about Calakmul?
So Calakmul, the plan here is this is going to be the second in a series of what we're calling the Daring Dice games. We did Scarabs and Scorpions back in November. It was a short 2-week quick starter. That was as much for me to make sure I could see how Kickstarter worked and to set myself a hard a deadline and just get going and learn how everything worked from the other side of the Kickstarter screen. I've backed a lot of projects, but seeing what's going on the other side was really interesting. In Calakmul, we're doing another Mint 10 game, except I guess you could call it bigger mints. We've had to go up in size on the tin. This game has a lot of dice. There's you've got 15 that are your quarry stones. You've got 3 dice that are for casting. And in the setting of Calakmul, which was a kingdom back in the Maya Empire that is only alluded to in some of the stuff they've and this part's real. Some of the archaeological stuff, when they do all the deciphering on the temple writings and the etchings they've got there, there was a lot of talk about this city of Calakmul that was dominant in the area, but had finally fallen. So the setting is you and a rival want to be the next ruler, and so there's a competition in the game. There's 3 games in the box. In the first competition, you're competing to see who can get a small temple constructed first. So it's kind of a leadership challenge if you can get your crew to build the temple at the right time. And then the second game, you're both competing really at building the same temple. But all your stones are going to contribute to this temple at the same time instead of individually. There's ways to score points in placement, in patterns, and several ways that you can do mischief on your opponent. And then for fun, we had all these dice, and I wanted to keep with the 3-game pattern from the last game we did. There's a simultaneous play speed game, so it's kind of a dexterity challenge, where you're both rolling all your dice at the same time to try and meet the pattern that's just been established to get all your dice to the right face values and load it onto a different temple. So each has a kind of a different aspect. So you got kind of a race game, first one to finish, a points game, one with the most points, and then a simultaneous dexterity game.
Oh, they sound pretty fun. Are they all, and you do dice with all of them?
Yeah, they're all with dice, so using it in different ways. In some cases, like the smaller dice, once they've been rolled the first time, they're arranged into your quarry, and those become the stones that you can place, but only if you've rolled and got those particular numbers. And there's a couple of rolling combinations like doubles or a straight that would allow you to have a little more leverage, especially when you're getting low on dice. That can be important.
And where was the inspiration? Where did you draw your inspiration from for this game?
So interestingly on this one, many years ago on Board Game Geek, and I'd have to look his name up again. There was a pretty active participant there. He started a contest kind of to honor Chessex, and he talked about the Chessex cube. I guess it's kind of really a rectangle, but the cube where it comes with like 30 dice in it, 32 of the smaller 12 millimeter dice, and it was a challenge to just come up with a game that pretty much only used 1 cube's worth of dice. And so that's where the seeds of this one started many years ago. And I just never, it was probably going to be the next one. I used to make some games in the basement and take them to game conventions and sell them. It was going to be the next one to come along, but looks like now's the time. And I found a funner way to try and make it work with doing the 10 series and making 3 games out of it instead of just the one that it had originally.
Oh yeah, then they can play more games. So yeah, more is always better, I think, most of the time.
Yeah, and I think especially as a new person, a new developer to Kickstarter, and I'm very keen to make sure that the value that backers who are willing to back on the campaign feel like they're getting good value for participating and helping the campaign to be successful. And the small size, of course, makes it real portable. So I'm kind of in that weird niche right now where I could say, I'm an artisan game crafter because I'm pretty involved in directly making the games as well. The hope in the future is as we continue on, I can get to more traditional, full-on manufacturing.
Yeah, you do it all right now yourself, don't you?
I do. And then the last one, to make one of the games work, I had to spend a lot of time marking up 2 opposing sides of wooden cubes. And so that was quite the endeavor. I tried to promise myself I wouldn't get in that position again. And so far, none of the design for what we're building right now requires that. I can have everything printed. There's a local guy who's been helping me good on that, and everything else is already manufactured. I just got to put it all together.
Well, that's good to hear. So when it comes to Calakmul, why should somebody take a chance on that and then back if they like what they see?
Sure. There are some fantastic Kickstarters out there. I've got 10 right now at least that I have marked the little heart on to keep me informed and remind me of the ones I wanted to follow and check out. And so I'm always in that struggle too of what I'm going to do. I've got about 14 that are due to show up this year at various points along the way. So when it comes to my game, I think I'm filling a different niche. So many of the big games and the successful ones are certainly what I think people would call medium to heavy. in their play. A lot of components. They're they're really manufactured. But I've noticed there's still that part of Kickstarter, I think, that is not looking to shoot the moon and wanting to get their ideas out and their contributions and games that they've enjoyed. And so I think with Calakmul and Scarabs and Scorpions, I'm addressing that group that doesn't need it to be super big, and it's light. These games are they're they're light, but they're so easy to pick up and so easy to teach. So they're good for family reunions. Some of them are even good for being able to play just while you're waiting on your dinner order, or when you've just got a little bit of time with the family. These are great ones to pick up, and especially for the younger kids, because I really remember, especially playing Risk when you're young and you're back there and you're wishing on your dice and you're hoping for the certain rolls to come up. Um, and in Calakmul, not only do you get that, but you're working to try and get certain patterns, and you're working for certain numbers, and there's some light strategy in each of the games. So it's not just pure luck, but it's I guess like backgammon, right? There's what you roll, but then there's what you do with the roll. That trying to weigh the best odds of what to do with it. Yeah, I think it's a fun niche to be involved in, and I think it's one that can grow. And they're quick and accessible games. They're in a small package, and it's kind of fun because there are a series of them now. So fun to see what's going to be coming down the line.
Yeah, for sure. I remember Scarabs and what was it? Scarabs and Scorpions. That looked like a fun one.
Yeah, I've heard back from several people in the local area that have been playing it, having fun with their family. Now that one's a lot. In Scarabs and Scorpions, two of the games are multiplayer, and then there's the third game is a solo adventure. And in Calakmul, the three games are two player games because you're competing with the other guy or the other one who wants to be the ruler too. And I'm working on a solo play. I've got so many dice. There's just great opportunity there for having a fun solo adventure, but that just hasn't solidified yet. So I'm not pushing too hard on that yet, but that should be getting together and be part of the campaign as well.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, better to have the games that are solid. So that's awesome. Now, when you came to Scarabs and Scorpions and running your first Kickstarter, which was a quick starter, what would you say you learned the most, Tony?
Well, I learned it was just so interesting to be on the other side. Remember, everyone's probably been through this where you've been at school and you've really enjoyed a class. The professor brought a lot to it, or who was teaching, and the material just excited you. And other classes where you kind of realize, you know what, this professor's not doing anything. He's just saying what's in the book. I could just read the book in 2 weeks and be done with this. So I only bring that up because having read through a lot of Kickstarters and watched some fail and a lot succeed, it was fun to put into practice what I felt I had learned. And even with what I thought I had learned, the key is the backer engagement and listening to them. I tried to start off very, very small and say, hey, I'm only going to do this in the United States, because I thought mailing was going to be a big complicated issue, and it was just a quick starter. But by having some responses from folks in England and Poland and other spots in the EU, realized, hey, they want to participate still. And so I made sure I had a print and play level so that they could get at least the material for being able to play the game with components that they had. And then when I looked, found out that now this is another thing I think that's cool with the game, especially for outside, is it's such a light weight at under a pound. Scarabs and Scorpions, I don't think, was barely 5 ounces, so that was good for shipping, and especially for overseas. So I was able to add a level where I could say, hey, well, just add $10, or $8 because it already included shipping. But and then I could get it over to the EU or to the UK. But just the community is really good and appreciative, and keeping them informed, because I know a lot of Kickstarters that I've enjoyed or participated in. I know sometimes I'm buying the game just as much as a vote of, hey, thanks, you did something fun here. I enjoyed the process and getting the updates, and so I try to make sure that I was including that as well. Pictures of development, shared some of the struggles of finally getting one of the games settled and realizing how much more stuff I had to try and cram in the tin to make it work. But we were able to get there.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it sounds like a fun process, and that was cool that you were able to go ahead and include EU shipping and different things. Will that be a thing you'll do from the get-go on this one, do you think?
Yeah, so learn more about how to set up the pledge levels so that people can backers can participate at the level they want. So even if it's the $1, I just want to follow along, like what you're doing, thanks. A level for the PDFs. I know there's no shortage of dice out there, so people can go that route. And what'll be interesting this time around is, because this is like a second game in a series that are loosely joined by the Daring Dice games, is I'll have from the beginning, not any kind of stretch goal on this, but that there'll be an add-on already available for Scarabs and Scorpions if folks want to kind of get in and make sure they've got the series as we continue to grow it.
Okay, and do you anticipate other things being in the series then?
Yeah, there's a few things. I was actually talking to my wife the other day about possibilities and the way things could go, because there's one track where I want to definitely get towards full-on manufacturing and fulfillment through that route. I've got some games in that line, in that direction, but to be able to also maintain this tin series, the challenge is deciding what will be the next appropriate one. I've got a handful that are have been played a little bit, or kind of mostly the concept right now. So not sure what the next one will be that we officially go with.
So people can follow along besides back in the Kickstarter, because I imagine you'll send out updates. Besides doing that, how would they go about following along and keeping up with the other stuff you have going on in the future then, Tony?
Well, so again, like, doing all these different firsts, with that one, I've got a Facebook page for the Gamealogical Institute. So that's spelled Game A Logical as one word, Institute. And that's kind of a place to start. It was funny, again, learning from the backers and the community. I put a contest out to backers of the last one, because I had some really cool variant dice of the Scarabs from the last game, and I was just going to have a contest for folks posting pictures of playing the game and being around. And of course, one backer quickly kind of said, "Well, sounds great. Wish everybody luck. I don't do Facebook," and realized, oh, can't keep assuming everybody's the same, and make sure there's ways for everyone to be engaged. So these are some of the next steps, definitely. So I've got the Facebook page. There's an email address on that. I have an old website that needs to be refreshed. So I'm trying to keep myself just ahead of the crest of the wave of things I need to do, and not get drowned under them. But given the way I am, I know forcing in some hard dates about when I need to do something really helps me get focused and knocking something out. So we, that's why I went ahead and set a date for the 29th to get this Kickstarter going. So it forced me to lock down on this, and to be able to get with you and have this great opportunity to do the podcast that you have going here, and just kind of let these things keep driving. So I'll keep the followers where I can, and then keep finding ways that I can engage with them better. Of course, I've got that regular full-time job thing I got to keep going, and so working all the time in for that.
Yeah, that kind of gets in the way sometimes, huh?
Yeah, those pesky bills, and making sure your family's clothed and fed. But I guess that's important.
Yeah, they like that.
Yeah, they're fans.
So there you go. Now, yeah, that's awesome, and I think that's very important, the whole engagement thing. So, and we'll go ahead and make sure we get all the links out to in the show notes, so people that are new to the series, they can go ahead and jump on and see what the whole Dangerous Dice series, is that what you called it?
Daring Dice Games.
Daring Dice Games, so they can see what the whole Daring Dice Games series is all about, so they don't have to necessarily type it in, but they can go ahead and find it through the podcast link. But yeah, we don't want to keep you all night, Tony, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Gamerleaf with us to talk all about Calakmul, Calakmul Daring Jungle Dice Game. We really appreciate it, Tony.
Okay, thanks. It was really a pleasure to be on, and I look forward to what 2019 is going to bring and getting to know more things. Appreciate your time.
No problem. Yours too.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
In this issue of Kickstarter Corner, we've got a couple of good games for you. We've got Cartoon Crusaders tabletop card game, in which you're playing 1 versus 1 and you play out of the same deck in a game of skill versus luck versus skill. Do you wonder what that means? I know I had that exact question for the creator, so I sat down with him and asked him that question, and you can go listen to that and find out in the update that was released on January 17th, entitled Update Interview with Me, in a new podcast in Getting Geeky with Gamerleaf. If you're listening to this when this releases, you'll definitely want to not dilly-dally, as there's less than 24 hours of this project to go, as it will run through Sunday, the 27th of January at 12:05 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So definitely check out Cartoon Crusaders tabletop card game. Another game that's on Kickstarter for a little while longer is Lex Draconis. Be the dragon. What would you sacrifice for power? Be the dragon and roar in this tabletop RPG core book for the modern RPG universe. Is that right? You get to be a dragon in Lex Draconis? Be the dragon? Well, I believe you heard me right. And this project has reached its funding goal, so not to worry there. And it'll be on Kickstarter through Monday, the 11th of February. So at the time of this podcast, there were 16 days to go. So definitely check out Lex Draconis, Be the Dragon, a new RPG coming to you from Raymond. Last but not least is Head Chef, the tabletop card game of food, fame, and fun. In this tabletop card game for 1 to 4 hungry players, you will cook the food, earn fame, and become a head chef. And Logan Chops actually did a review of this game. And did you know the Giveaway Geek is about to launch a very exciting thing, that Lord of the Rings game that is on Board Game Geek's hotness list? Well, a couple of game designers and publishers, as well as some content creators, have partnered together with the Giveaway Geek, and they're going to be bringing you the new Lord of the Rings game that is currently on BGG's hotness list. It's number 1. Well, it's since slipped to number 2 this morning, but not to worry, it's still in the top 5. Just so you know, the Lord of the Rings Journeys in the Middle-earth, coming out this year, is actually on pre-order from Fantasy Flight Games. And it's already been pre-ordered by the Giveaway Geek. And you want to know who's proudly going to be powering this giveaway that should launch no later than Monday, the 28th of January? Well, it's proudly being brought to us by Calakmul, 4 Daring Jungle Dice Games in a Tin. So, the interview that I just got done having with Tony, his game is proudly powering this giveaway. So, by checking out the campaign when it launches and whatnot, that's one entry into this great giveaway. Plus, we've got Alliance the card game, which will be launching to Kickstarter in February, as well as Head Chef, the tabletop card game of food, fame, and fun, which is currently one of our Kickstarter Corner games. So by checking out that campaign, that's another way to enter this giveaway that will be coming from the Giveaway Geek, as well as Games. You may remember them from games that you may have heard us talk about, such as Last One Standing, which was a battle royale game, as well as No Escape. And you know what? They're going to be launching 2 new games coming to Kickstarter this year. Plus, last but not least, our 5th and final sponsor of the giveaway of the Lord of the Rings Journeys in the Middle-earth will be one of my favorite podcasts, Board Gaming with Education, from Dustin Stats. So, it used to be called Board Gaming with English, as he teaches English, but he's making it more for educators everywhere, not just those speaking English or teaching English. So if you have anything to do with gamification of games, it's a really cool board game podcast. I know I really enjoy it, even though I'm not an English teacher. So you should check it out, and by checking out Board Gaming with Education, that's another entry into this giveaway. Well, and we'll make sure that we leave that link to the giveaway in our, currently the page is called Current Giveaways, and what we're going to do on our site, I got to figure out how to do it, but we're going to go ahead and start leaving more giveaways listed there than just the current giveaway. So it'll be current giveaways, I guess, if you will. Did you like what you heard? Well, if you did, I hope you'll go and check out any of these campaigns that are currently on Kickstarter. I love helping out these creators. Do you have a game that you'd like to see featured on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, or do a giveaway with the Giveaway Geek? Definitely give me a shout out over at Getting Geeky with Game Relief on the Facebook. See what we can do to check it out. Or email me at gamerelief@gamereliefgo.com. If you're a fan of the show, reach out to me that way as well so we can find out what you think. But anyways, it's our least favorite time, your least favorite time. Time for us to get on with our lives, you to get on with yours. In the meantime, I hope you guys will get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others into Geekfold. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Game Relief out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.